Ladies and gentlemen, it's another exciting edition of Tech, the Entrepreneur Channel. And today, I'm not in a good mood because we will be discussing about Nigeria's performance or poor performance at the 2024 Paris Olympics. I have here with me my very good friends, Tunde Eludini. Tunde, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, good afternoon.
You
I'm
still
surprised.
you still get smile for your face now.
Well, you look at the positives always. You look at the positives, but there are positives to look at. So I think the smile is not out of place.
Okay. I also have Chijioke, the one I call CJ. CJ, you're welcome to Tech.
Good day, listeners. Good day, viewers. And it's good to be here. Yes, it's negative from the Olympics, but like Tunde said, we must always find sunshine even in the midst of darkness.
This one be sunshine. I'm not gonna tell me the positive. Now, yeah, Tunde, what's the positive?
Okay.
What's the positive? People the vex, stay positive. What's the positive?
First of all, what is Olympics about? Olympics is about participation. First thing is, if you look at how many athletes are across the world, for you to make it to the Olympics itself is a positive. And yes, it's not something that we should glory in when you look at the country of almost 200 million people and we cannot get a medal at the Olympics. It's not. It's not something you should be proud of. But like I said, um, we've seen a couple of athletes that have shown great potentials that by if things are done properly, if we don't bungle things up again, if things are done properly, then we should be smiling at Los Angeles. We saw the likes of Samuel Ogazi. He's just 18, and he got to the final in the 400 meters event for men. That has never happened in 36 years, and so he has shown a great progress. If he can continue in that trajectory, I'm sure he's not going to be looking at just making a final in Los Angeles. He'll be talking about getting a medal. And we saw that couple of athletes, Ophili, um, even outside of what do you call it, outside of athletics, in wrestling, we saw like 3 debutants in the Olympics. So we have a succession plan that if we follow through, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So, but what we put, the kind of work we put to the next 4 years is what will determine if this smile will actually come blossoming or it's going to be back to square one again.
We have not even gone back to the drawing board. Sunday is talking about the next Olympics in 4 years. We have not even done a review of the one that ended a couple of days ago. CJ, what's your assessment of Nigeria's performance in Paris?
If we look at it straight ahead, it's appalling. It's terrible. It's bad. We didn't do ourselves proud. Yes, generally we know we came home with 0 medals. It was one of the poorest Olympics for us. It wasn't it wasn't something that we can be proud about. We can go on and talk about our preparations, how poor our preparations are. Um, but like Tunde was trying to highlight, we have foundations where we could build on, and preparation for the next Olympics starts now. We should not wait for 2 years time before the next Olympics or a year before the next Olympics before we start preparing our athletes. We should start now. People of feeling we saw um, how much it meant to her when she broke down in the post interview after her race, how disappointed she was not winning the medal. And it was always difficult for anybody to start from the ninth lane in the 200 meters final. For her, it's a good experience. And considering the disappointment she went through from being omitted from our strongest point, which is the 100 meters, for 2 consecutive Olympics. That wasn't nice, but I think, like the minister said, the investigations will be carried out, and we'll wait to see what would come out of that. So, a general assessment of our Olympics is not good. And if I have to maybe rate over 10, maybe it might just be a 2.5 or 2 over 10 for me.
Okay, 2.5 over 10. Tunde, you talk about Ophili, right? Favor Ophili. And why is it that at every Olympics or almost every Olympics, um, the Nigerian administrators, sport administrators must do something that will affect the athletes? I mean, this has been a reoccurrence from time to time to time, and it happened again for Favor Ophili at Paris. Tunde, what do you make of this?
Well, I think the answer is simple. There is no punishment there's precedence. So if some people did something and nobody was punished, then you give room for others to repeat the same thing. We've just been hearing officials committing these blunders, but none of them have been punished. So until we stamp our feet and begin to hold people accountable, this will definitely continue. Like, for example, the minister has said investigations are going on. I'm sure maybe if 2, 3 weeks down the line, if we don't get to hear anything and it is swept down the carpet again, then you can be sure you should be preparing for another. But when people are held accountable and they are punished, people lost their jobs, people are suspended, people are fined, then it's going to send a message that it's no longer business as usual. And so until we get that right in terms of not condoling act of negligence, I think this recurring embarrassment will definitely continue.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because people just do stuff and they go free, they go scot free, and then the next Olympics, we are not even just Olympics, tournaments, Commonwealth, Paralympics. You know, the Nigerian athletes always go through issues. You know,
Yeah,
CJ.
and
Now,
sorry, let me just add something. And the downside of that is our athletes at the end of the day switch nationalities, which they can do. And if they get very upset at this, we saw practical example where the hammer thrower for the United States was actually a member of the last Olympics for the Nigerian team. She won the hammer silver for the United States. So things like this should really attract heavy punishments, because if you don't punish these guys and they go scot free, they will do it next time. Yes, precedents are set, but it's not supposed to be for a serious country that wants to win something. And yes, Olympics is all about participation and all that, we know, but we need to stamp our feet on the ground and really met out punishments to these officials that are assigned this, because these things are the careers of these athletes, is their life. And so we can't keep losing athletes to other countries. It's been happening over the years, but if it happened because of simple mistakes like this, then something needs to be done, and done very fast.
mm, true. And CJ, you talked about
Yeah,
this Nigerian descent, athletes, Nigerian descent, representing other countries, Bahrain, Germany, Great
yeah,
Britain, Spain, and they won medals for these countries. It's easy for Nigerians to say
exactly.
if they represented Nigeria, they would have won that medal, right? But these athletes, before winning the
Mm,
medal, they went through training, they went through motivation, they went through welfare, they were
mm.
well paid, they trained very well. Do you think today, if these athletes were to represent Nigeria, do you think they will still do this same thing? They will still win this same medal they won for this country, they will still win it for Nigeria?
Okay, so for me, sports is not mathematics where 1+1 is 2. Um, Many things contribute to the final outcome of results that we see. Okay, like for example, if you look at these Olympic Games, for example, if it's about preparation, if it's about ranking, Amushan was supposed to get to the final. But look at what happened. A slow start, and she couldn't. She couldn't. So there are many things. There are many factors that come to play. Yes, these athletes, when athletes, where in most cases, when these athletes leave Nigeria, they are exposed to better equipment, they are exposed to better welfare, like you said, and so all these things together, they are how I say it, they are ingredients for success. So if they are lacking, it makes success more difficult for you. But it doesn't make it's not a death sentence. It just makes it more difficult for you. And of course, we in the same races that this Nigerian, we had people from America that didn't get to the final. We had people from all these Canada and the rest that are well established that didn't get it. So it's not every athlete that contests for Canada will get a medal or make it to the final. So like that's what I'm trying to make the distinction, that it is not 1+1. That if the tables are switched, will these guys still make a medal? So, like for example, if Amushon gets to go to maybe the United States, for example, and she has better facilities and all that, she can still get to the final. And some maybe we had people that fell in the course of the hurdles. It's not that they didn't prepare well. It's not that they didn't have the best of training. It's not that they were not given proper welfare, but it might not translate directly to medal. But you can't take it away from sports. You need the best of facilities, you need the best of coaching, you need the best of welfare to excel. And if that is lacking in Nigeria, it makes it difficult for this athlete to actually be at par with other athletes from across the world. So it's a factor, but you cannot expressly say if the tables are turned, this is what will happen.
Yeah, true. So, CJ, did Tigers, they've been promising over the years, and they went to the Olympics with a different coach this time, a female, and they got to the quarterfinal, but were beaten by the champions. I mean, there's nothing to worry about there, right?
They lost gallantly, so we just finally
Gallantly.
they lost gallantly. They made us proud. The Tigers were like the shining light in the whole Olympics for the Nigerian contingent, or the Nigerian, or it's in Nigeria. The coach Wakama sounds a little bit like Wayama there. She was actually
O'Shea.
yeah, that's absolutely awesome. She was also voted coach of the basketball event, which shows a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah, for me, I enjoyed watching the Nigerian team, especially Ezine, the one I like to call Phelps, Ezine Kalu. She embodied everything that needs to be in Nigeria. She wears her emotions in her sleeves, and she's so passionate about playing basketball. And we saw the way he navigated through the group phases, defeating Australia, the third ranked team in the female basketball category. And they went toe to toe with the United States at some point, especially in the fourth quarter of that particular game where they lost out. They became the first African team, whether male or female, to reach that stage of the competition. That's the quarterfinal of the Olympics.
yeah,
And so it was all round a huge success. I enjoyed, but one thing for me is, for the team, it looks like anytime they are under pressure is when they score enough 3 points. That they ran out of luck in the quarterfinal games. But overall, the Tigers, they were awesome. They made us proud. We're so proud of them, and they need more support for them to go higher. They are basketball African champions already. They will dominate Africa for many years to come. But we need them to do it at the world stage. And they've shown themselves now. And in the next Olympics, everybody should just watch out. The Nigerian team is coming.
See the way your mouth sweet for Ezinne. Is there anything behind that hype and statement about Ezinne? You know. Tunde, what is your high point at the Olympics? What is overall? Overall, what is your high point?
For me, it's the Tigers. They really showed. They really showed that impossible is nothing. Immediately the groups were made. Everybody just look at it that if they even see one game to win, they should be thankful. And like CJ pointed out, even in the game against the United States, they pushed the champions to the wire, and it shows that that's the difference. If you look at if you get to hear how the Tigers actually prepared for this Olympics, then you will be shocked that even with that sort of preparation, they can still come this good at the Olympics. I think I heard from someone they had to travel by road for 8 hours for a friendly game. And so, but beyond all that, the Niger spirit, I think that's one thing that is you can't put it defies science, because if ordinarily they were supposed to just go there beating black and blue and they return, but see the amazing things they were able to do. No African team, either male or female, has ever made it to the quarterfinals of the Olympics, and they did that. They did that in style. And um, if not for the how I say it, FIBA rules that are not. Um, I think there was a loophole that was explored. That is why the Tigers had to face the United States. So I think maybe in future tournaments, if they can, like somebody rightly pointed out, if games can be played simultaneously, so nobody has an advantage. Yeah. So ordinarily, this team could have, if not for the United States, I'm sure if it was any other team they faced in that quarterfinals, they had a very good chance of making it to the semifinal because they were really on top of their game and they were ready to give it all. Everybody was thinking the United States would blow them apart, but you see how it turned out. So for me, the Tigers' amazing run was the biggest for me. If there's a chance for a second, maybe it's going to be the 18-year-old, like I said earlier, that made it to the final of the Olympics for the first time in 36 years. I think that is also awesome, and it shows that there's a great future if we do the right things. It's just about us doing the right things, and things will fall in place for us.
Yeah.
Okay. CJ, I know
Yeah.
that the Super Falcons performed poorly. I know that the Nigerian administrators they perform poorly too. Yeah. So what is your own low points? What's your own low points at the Paris Olympics?
There were so many low points, but I didn't like the fact that what happened to the Nigerian cyclist. I didn't like the fact that we had to depend on the German team to get a bike to actually compete in that particular race.
We didn't depend
I
on them.
know.
We borrow bike. We borrow bike ride. We borrow bike
I
ride.
was trying to, I was trying to make it my. I know it's easy to hammer them and hit them, but sometimes these things happen. I was listening to the Federation President Masari speak when he said um, they had track bikes, but it wasn't approved before that event, and it was approved a day later. And I just felt it was too much excuse, and the minister was also explaining that a country pulled out or was disqualified. That's why we became the next country in line. So that's why we got a late notice to compete in a particular cycling event, and these things are not supposed to happen because we're supposed to be on top of our game. We're supposed to be aware of situations, and uh, that was actually the lowest point for me. That organization wise, we're out of depth throughout. What happened to Philly also? Also, we must even note that Favor Philly became the first Nigerian after Miro Nyali in Atlanta, from Atlanta 96 to reach the 200 meters final in the women's event. So, despite the chaos around her, she still mustered courage to reach the final like that too. So it was, for me, it was administrative throughout the whole tournament. It was sad, and I remember also before the tournament started, I think members of the basketball team wanted to join. I think a boat or a ferry of the Nigerian team. They had to, yeah, you remember the story where they couldn't get
Yes.
on the ferry because it was filled. It was so many chaos. The organization was just poor for me, and that was the low point for me. We need to organize better. We need to. It was not one thing for me. So it was just a big part of everything. But administratively, we got this wrong because for the athletes, if they get grants 2 years ahead of major tournaments, they can train and train, and they will know
True.
if they fail in that event, like today said, you can train all your best and still not win a particular event. But we know that they are well prepared for those events. But some of them didn't prepare well because administratively we were very terrible. So it aches my heart. It hurts me talking about it right now. I even feel like crying
I
for
can
the
see.
nation.
I can see that from. I can see that from your voice and hear that from your face.
Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. So administratively, it's the lowest point for me for this Olympics, Paris 2024.
Is that your
The
network
administration let
or
us down.
my network?
CJ,
Yeah,
9 billion naira was spent. 9 billion. You were mentioning your low point. You did not mention that too.
yeah.
Was
It's
that
part of the
also your
administrative. It's part
okay?
of the administrative self because it has. I don't know what they spent 9 billion naira to do. If it is preparation, our preparation was poor. So it's it's again shows. Let's not get it wrong. Sports business is an expensive business. Training athletes getting grants, supporting your athletes. It's not only getting grants from the world body or their clubs or whatever, but the countries, their federations supporting them. Maybe, and logistics also, it's really tough getting the number of athletes we took to the Olympics, administrators and everything. So 9 billion spent. Um, I don't know. It's somehow spending 9 billion, getting no results. It's quite somehow. It's not a
It's
low point
quite.
because they must spend money to execute. They must spend money
So,
to execute competition.
Tunde,
So
that
it's
we're
just what it
discussing
is.
about Tunde, we're discussing about 9 billion spent at the Olympics. Would you say that also is for, as you said now, Olympic is for participation, not majorly for winning medals. So did we spend 9 billion naira to participate at the Olympics?
Okay, so for every athlete, you must. It's good. It's mediocre if you say you are satisfied with just participating.
I think
Yes, the Olympic spirit is about participation, but as athletes, I'm sure the drive is for you to make the podium. And so if you don't get that, you should be seen that you did well enough, even if you don't get that medal. Yeah, so talking about 9 billion. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
yeah.
Yeah, talking about 9 billion. Sometimes it's not about the amount that is spent, it is how it was spent that makes it that makes it bring the required results. If
True.
athletes are supposed to train for 3 months and they don't train, and you now just put them in one hotel 2 days to the event, and you start dashing them 3 million, it won't make up for the preparations they ought to have made. So, like for example, these training grants we are talking about were shared to people in Paris. So I don't see the how
Effect.
if those guys had
Mm.
those money in their hands, maybe they would have
Exactly. Two
gotten
years
better
prior to the
things that
Olympics.
would have gotten
Yes.
them better. So yes, at the long run we spent 9 billion, but was it properly spent? I don't think that the answer for that is yes. And so if you look at it holistically, that 9 billion and no medal to show is not. It hasn't turned out to be a wise investment.
So now we can talk about the way forward. We can talk about the next Olympics now. CJ, just like
Yeah.
Tunde said, now let's say in the next Olympics in 4 years' time, if Nigeria spent 9 billion naira in Paris. If Nigeria is going to spend 15 billion naira in Los Angeles, right? Don't you think Nigeria should release, if it's 50% or 30%, select your promising athletes and start training them now? How do we prepare for the next Olympics so that we don't give excuses for not winning medals?
Yeah, in the course of this show, we've already highlighted on it already when we said preparation for the next Olympics starts now. Um, you see kids participating, like the girl that defeated Adekuroye Oduayo in wrestling was a 21-year-old Chinese girl. They've been training from young. They've been participating, competing, and that's what these Asians and Europeans do. They throw people early into sports. Now that will have to do with our sports policy. Later, we'll have to go back to school sports and train people and create facilities in societies areas where people can go train and harness their skills. But for the Olympic, which is the short term goal, now, in 4 years' time, how do we start preparing? We've seen promising athletes already in this particular event. We know administrators that are not up to scratch in delivering their, their work, fish them out, do as the necessary punishment, let them go, bring in fresh people with fresh ideas. I don't want to mention any names now, I'm just speaking generally. So they could help set programs, monitor these athletes, and let the grants get to these players on time. I don't know whether 50% or 100% or whatever the thing is, but grants should be something that is compulsory, that you help your athletes with. That they can go to the best training facilities, best training schools, best whatever, and train for 2 year period preparation for the Olympics. And you're preparing specifically for the Olympics because they will have, like for the athletes that they have meets to run and their diamond leagues and everything to run in the next 2 years. They will do all those ones. But when it gets to 2 years before time, you could call them and like, hey, we want you guys to get set for the Olympics. Take these grants, continue your trainings and do stuff. So we can really get something out of the next Olympics. It will really start practicing now.
Great, great. Tunde, do you want to add anything?
No, I think you have said it all, and all I just want at this period is that we match our words with action. The minister has said so many things during and after the Olympics. I just hope it won't be sound bites like we used to have them, but it will be matched with appropriate action. And so 4 years down the line, we will not be saying the same thing again that we didn't start early, we didn't do this, we didn't release funds on time, and all those excuses that we have every other year. that we find ourselves in this kind of situation.
CJ, thank you very much. You can now go and eat your
Thank you
food.
very much for having us.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Anyhow, you go cut
Tunde,
down
thank
for
you.
me.